Afterlife with Dr. David Falk. Yeah, what's going on, party people? The place to be. I go by the name of the BK Apologist, transmitting all the way live. New York is the city, Brooklyn is the borough. What's good? What's popping? Happy Monday to each and all. Of course, we gotta say what's up to the amazing party people in the chat. We got Diatribe in the building. We got Tyler Lott. We got the incomparable, the indelible Nate2 D2. We got, of course, the real American Mr. Phil Fox. We got LMBO. We got Brother Brian on the check-in. Good to see each and every one of you guys. And as always, if you have not yet already, please like, share, and subscribe. Share this link. Tell a friend to tell a friend that it's him again. And if you like how it goes down with BK Apologists, you can show your appreciation via PayPal. Or if you'd like to be a monthly supporter of BK, you could become a patron where you get an assortment of goodies to help you in your personal Bible study. So with that being said, I am with a really good and nerdy friend of mine's. We haven't had him on the platform for some time, and that's really my fault. I've been wanting to bring him in, but I was looking for the right subject, and definitely this is one of them. And of course, we're talking about Dr. David Falk. What's going on, sir?
It's going on.
Yes.
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. I'm doing well. Me and the good doctor was behind the scenes talking about all the enemies we've made since we've been on YouTube.
Comparing notes. Spilling tea.
Yes. So, man. So, as you know, and as the good doctor knows, I am a urban apologist, and I defend the gospel when it comes to certain heresies that usually target Black and brown people. And you guys know me, I tackle a lot of different subjects, but I usually focus a lot on what's known as the conscious community. And within that community, they're very much engaged in what they would call the Kemetic worldview. And that's why I love to have Dr. David Falk come in, because he's an expert in ancient Kemet. And they love to critique Christians. And one of the critiques they like to have is that Christianity is a complete ripoff of the so-called Kemetic worldview that they have. And, I spent a lot of time showing, from primary sources, Jesus not Horus, Jesus not Osiris, Jesus, So what we want to do tonight is talk about the afterlife, right? We're going to talk about the Kemetic afterlife. Now, when I say afterlife, I'm already assuming that there's a supernatural realm. And the reason why I bring that up, doctor, is because many in the conscious community, though they love the accoutrements of, ancient Egypt, they wear the ankhs and the eye Horus and stuff like that. A lot of them will tell you that there is no spirituality in ancient Kemet, that we mistake the spirituality for high science. What they're really talking about is quantum physics.
So, of course.
So, my first question for you, doctor, and it's a silly one, but I just want to get you on record. Did the ancient Egyptians actually believe in an afterlife?
Oh, yes. So you'd have to be stupid not to believe that the Egyptians had an afterlife.
So it wasn't quantum
physics?
They
went crazy about the afterlife. There's probably no civilization in the ancient Near East that had more emphasis on the afterlife than the Egyptians.
Mm.
I mean, they believed this thing's lock, stock, and barrel. I mean, they were totally bought in on it. They spent a good amount of their money preparing for the afterlife.
Right.
They spent huge sums on their tombs and their funeral preparations.
Right.
You only do that if you believe in an afterlife.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really odd to create a whole temple for, like, oxygen.
Yes, exactly.
What I mean? Like, the altar to hydrogen. Like, that's not... Yeah, of course not. All right, so pre-dynastic, the old kingdom, how accessible was it for the common Egyptian during that time to be able to maneuver through the duat, the underworld?
Okay, we have to understand that the theology of the duat had not completely formed during the pre-dynastic period.
Okay.
Okay, but by roughly Dynasty 4 or 5, there had already been at least the foundations of, say, the pyramid texts.
Okay.
And at that point, they already have started to put together a theology of the duat.
And who was privy to this theology?
The priests, the funerary priests, especially those at Abydos. Abydos was the preeminent funerary center in Egypt, then followed by Saqqara. So the priests at Abydos and Saqqara were really the spearhead of the funerary cults of Egypt.
Okay. So now, could the common man get this information, or was it mainly for the elite, for the Nasut and the pharaoh and those around him?
It was very pretty much for the pot people.
The what people? Sir?
The pot people.
The pot people.
Okay. The Egyptian society was divided into two major classes. The Remech, and anyone in Egypt who was Egyptian was a Remech. Then you have the pot people. These are the nice people. The middle and upper classes. The good-smelling people. The clean people.
Wow.
The people who wear makeup and perfume.
So they were the ones. So if you wasn't part of that particular tax bracket, if you will, you just was out of luck when it came to maneuvering through the duat?
Well, you didn't have the same access to things. Okay? So you would still have access to some funerary rites. But you wouldn't have the same access to, say the coffin, the texts, the funerary texts, those sort of things. You wouldn't have priests saying a lot of spells over your funeral. You'd sort of get a bare bones funeral, just like today. If you pay for $500, you're going to get a wood casket in a communal grave.
Right.
You pay $10,000 for a funeral, you get the whole bronze coffin, limousine parade,
right.
lunch afterwards.
All the bells and whistles, right.
All the bells and whistles, yeah. So it's very much like today is, you sort of get what you pay for.
Okay. All right. So let me set the scene for you then. So let's say I am one of the pot people, right? I'm one of the elites. I'm getting up in age. My mortality is calling me. I want to get ready. What type of ritual technology would I have to get in order to make sure that I have my best possible shot at getting to the other side? What would I need to acquire?
Okay, first of all, you want to make sure that your ride to the afterlife is comfortable and well protected. Okay, so you're going to invest in mummification supplies. Okay, so that means a lot of gold sheeting, linens, wood, all that. You're gonna have a contract with a craftsman to start producing items for your tomb. Okay, you're gonna hire some craftsmen to make you your tomb. They're gonna cut it out of the stonework and they're going to decorate it, or they're gonna make a mastaba. Depends on how high you are in the pecking order.
Well, I'm up there.
You're right up there. Okay, so
I'm part of the 1%.
You're part of the 1%. So you're one of these sort of, either you're a nomarch or you're a vizier. You're just one step below the king himself.
There you go.
Okay.
Now we're talking.
Okay, so if you were in, say, the Old Kingdom, let's say the end of the Old Kingdom, you would build yourself this massive mud brick mastaba, which is kind of like a pyramid, but with the pyramid top shaved off the top. So it's more of a raised platform.
Okay.
And you'd have one of these built around the pyramid of of the king you owed your allegiance to. So you're right next door to the king in the afterlife. There would be decorations in this mastaba. It would be it'd be beautifully decorated. It would be lined with stone and have carved reliefs that are painted. So, you're going to have a Technicolor afterlife. You are going to pay for a coffin and a sarcophagus. You're also going to pay for a canopic shrine. Because when you're mummified, they take out all your guts and they put your heart, lungs, intestines, and kidneys in canopic jars.
And why did they do that?
Because that's the parts you need for the afterlife. And they don't mummify as well as the rest of the body. So they will separate those into 4 canopic jars that go into your canopic shrine.
Okay. What about the shopties?
The shopties you're also going to buy them too.
Okay.
You can't forget them, and you need 400 of them.
Why do I need shopties to begin with?
Okay. Because somebody has to work the fields of Osiris. So what you're doing is you're getting 365, or actually technically 360 shopties to work the fields. Okay? But it's not enough that you have those shopties. You need basically 1 shoptie per week to supervise those 360 shopties.
Middle
Okay?
management.
Middle management. And then you need another basically 3 or 4 to supervise your supervisors.
Your VPs.
Your VPs. Now, you don't get out of work entirely because you've got to supervise those 3 or 4. But and nobody works the epigomenal days.
Right.
So you don't need shopties for that.
All right, so I got my shopties. I got my. Let's talk a little bit more about the coffin. How important is the coffin?
The coffin's very important because that's your proxy body.
The coffin itself.
The coffin itself is a proxy body. One of the things about the Egyptian tombs is there has to be a redundancy of images. Okay, so let's say, for example, all the funerary stuff is done right, and you get to the tomb, and somebody robs the tomb. Your body is taken out, and it's destroyed by tomb robbers looking for goodies that's wrapped in the cloth. So your body's gone; it's destroyed. You need that coffin to come back and act as a proxy body. And if that fails, the statue in your tomb, which you also had made, will act as a proxy body. And if that's destroyed too, the reliefs on the wall will act as proxy bodies for you.
Wow.
And if that's destroyed, you're out of luck.
Wow. A lot of backup proxies there. That's
it is, yeah. Yeah.
All right,
they
so
thought about this.
You got the coffin, you got the shopties. Is there any like bracelets, rings that I need to have in order to make way?
It makes life better for you in the afterlife. They're not actually necessary for the afterlife, but yeah, you want as much funerary stuff as you possibly can get.
What about the scarab?
Scarabs are just amulets.
Right.
Okay? They're representative of the sun god. They're protective amulets. So you are going to have a whole bunch of amulets put into your coffin and wrapped in your mummy as well.
Okay.
So you'll have scarabs, and often a scarab was put over the heart.
Right.
Because the heart had been removed, a scarab would be put in its place. These are called heart scarabs.
Right.
But you also have, say, a variety of amulets to various gods. So you'd have amulets to Weret, to Hathor, to Amun, to Horus, to Nut and Isis, Sobek. There'd be a huge variety of amulets because you don't want to leave any god out.
Can't have that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got the coffin. We got the mummification technology. We have Oh, so my ride, right? So I
Your
have my coffin,
ride.
but I have a ride.
You have a
What's
ride.
that called? The ride.
That is called a Gati shrine.
Got you shrine.
Basically, it's a big shrine on a sledge that the coffin is put inside,
Okay.
and the whole shrine is dragged to the tomb. So essentially, you have a shrine for your coffin as well as a shrine for your canopic jars. And generally, there's a rope that connects the Gati shrine to the canopic jar shrine. So it's kind of dragged in this parade.
Okay.
Now, some canopic jar shrines are actually carried. And an example of this was the one in King Tut's. That one was actually carried because we have sea carrying poles on that one.
Okay. So I have that. I have my ride. I got my coffin. I got my canopic jars. I have my mummification stuff. So now I guess depending on which kingdom, right? It's either the pyramid text or a coffin text. Let's go with the actual book. Let's go
Or
with
the Book of the Dead. That's
right,
the other
Hotep
option.
Heru, right? So why would I need that?
That's your guide for getting out of sticky situations in the afterlife.
Cheat code. It's the cheat code.
It's your cheat codes, yeah.
Okay.
You didn't live such a moral life in this life? That's okay. You got a spell to take care of it.
Really?
You get yourself trapped in one of the sections of the duat? That's okay. You got a spell to get you out of that.
Now these books were custom made. I've read. Is that true? Like to the person?
Well, they're custom made in that there was a blank left for the names. So basically, they would make these kind of in a factory kind of fashion,
Okay.
and then just fill in the name when they needed it.
Now earlier you talked about how expensive these things are. If I needed to acquire, I mean, forget the rest of the ritual technology. If I needed to acquire my own Hotep Heru, how much in today's coinage would that be?
It'd be tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Now, if I don't have this book, if I can't afford this book, what are my chances of making it through?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? People did have fragments of this book too.
Okay.
So they were economy models.
Okay.
So for every Maserati, there was a Toyota Tercel.
Yeah, so you had low budget books of that. Okay.
You had econo books.
Econo books. That should be your next book. The Econo books of the Dead. Oh man.
Well, that's a lot. We found actually a lot of these,
Really?
which are basically not incomplete books of the dead that may have had only like 2 or 3 spells
because you couldn't afford the other spells.
because you couldn't afford the rest. You couldn't afford the full scroll. We find tombs that have, say, 5 Shabti figures, 4 or 5 Shabti figures. They're often held in these little boxes, cabinets, and those cabinets are basically have slots for 6 Shabti. And we find tombs where there's like only 3 or 4 inside, and we have some empty slots
I'm just thinking about how
because the person couldn't afford it.
I'm just imagining they're going to the priest, right? And it's like, what can I get for this amount of money? Man, I can only give you 3 Shopties for that. Like, come on, man. You can't give me another Shopty? It's like, me and you go back, you know? Like, how can... Okay, I'll throw in 2 extra spells and half a Shopty. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
Well, these were all made by craftsmen anyway, not priests.
Right. So...
But the craftsmen they're making their living off of this thing. No, barter. The price is the price. You want this in the afterlife? You pay the price.
So I pay the price, right? So I got my Hotep Heru, I got my ride, I got my coffin, I got all the bells and whistles. I die, right?
You're dead.
I'm dead. What happened? What's the process? What's the procedure now that I'm dead?
Okay. A lot of it's going to depend upon how they find you in that post-mortem state.
Okay. I die in my sleep. They
Okay,
find
you
me
die in
my
your suit.
Chambers, I die in my sleep.
That's the good way to die. Because
Wait a minute,
they
is
would
there
sometimes
a way to
find.
die that I don't make it?
Oh, there's a way that you can die that things are not so good for you.
All right,
That's for sure.
Bring that up. Yeah, like what?
Like if you die, fall in the river, and get partially eaten by crocodiles.
So that's it. I can't make it now?
Well, if they get your body, part of your body out, you're not going to arrive in all one piece.
Wow.
Because here's how it works.
Okay.
Your body has to be intact upon burial for you to be complete in the afterlife.
Okay.
Okay? So there's a time of vulnerability between the point of your death and the 70 days afterwards in which you're buried.
It takes 70 days?
40 days for the mummification process, 30 days for mourning.
Wow. Okay.
Okay? A lot of stuff can happen in that 70 days. Things that can happen. We just mentioned you die in an accident, you lose your limb in the river or whatever, and it gets eaten by a crocodile. Okay, you're going to be less one limb in the afterlife. Another thing that can happen, and this did happen, was that the priests botched the mummification job. And you started to decay.
Wow.
And what would happen is your flesh would start bloating, increasing in gas, and bursting.
Ugh.
So there'd be chunks taken out of your flesh. That's also pieces you're going to be missing in the afterlife.
So wait. So whatever happens to my body here is what is going to be when I get over there? I don't get a new body?
Up until the end of that, until you're actually interred.
So I don't get a new body. It's whatever I got, whatever I was able to.
Well, you'll get a new body. It just won't be complete.
So it's a new body, but it's not. Wow.
It's not complete.
Wow. Yeah. That's not.
This was the great fear of the afterlife.
Wow.
Was there is this liminal state between mortality and apotheosis. When you're made to have the flesh and bones of a god.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get to that in a minute. But all right, so forget.
So that liminal state is a state of vulnerability.
Wow.
And you see this in the coffin text and the pyramid texts, where it talks about Seth as predating on the dead.
Okay.
Seth feeds on death and decay. So if Seth takes a chunk out of you, you're not getting that back in the afterlife.
Sheesh.
Your new body will conform to the state of your spirit. Wow. And if you lose a piece in that 70 days, that's a piece you lose of your spirit in the afterlife.
Okay. All right. So let's say that doesn't happen to me. You know, I die in my sleep. I'm fully intact. My servants come in. They see that I've expired. What happens then?
Well, then you're taken directly to the priests. They set up a little tent for mummification purposes. They basically cut you open, scoop out your innards. They drain your skull cavity. They don't always remove the brain. That's sort of a myth. Okay. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We found that what happens if they don't remove the brain is it just shrinks and sort of adheres like a film to the back of the skull. So we now know that a lot of mummies did not have the brains removed.
Okay.
They just didn't care about the brain that much. It wasn't really a big deal.
Right.
They tried to drain the cavity when they could, but if they didn't, that wasn't a big deal either. Once they clean your innards out, they wash the whole body. and then they pile natron on natron upon natron. So you're buried in this huge pile of natron. And that's when sort of you're turned into human jerky for 40 days. Okay? Now, during that 40 days, priests are supposed to come by. They're supposed to wipe away, because there will be some what's called purge fluids. As the body desiccates, it also releases fluids. Priests are supposed to wipe away those fluids, and if needed, add dry natron. Okay. At the end of that 40 days, they brush off all the natron, wrap you up in linen, and you're ready for the mourning process. And at which point, you're put in your coffin, and your relatives mourn over you for 30 days.
All right, so the 30 days come and go. What's next?
Next is the procession to the tomb.
Okay.
So at that point, they stick your coffin in its gaudy shrine, your canopic jars in its canopic shrine, and they have this big procession where, in ritual, Anubis escorts your body to the tomb. Okay. Once you're in the tomb, your soul then travels through the false door in the tomb to the duat.
Okay. There's no an opening of the mouth ceremony?
There's an opening of the mouth ceremony too, and that happens just before they stick you into the tomb.
Okay. So me and Anubis, we get through the false door. So we're in the duat. Now
you're in the duat.
Now what happens?
Now, if you've done all your spells right, Anubis will escort you through the afterlife.
How long is that process?
1 night.
Okay.
You have 1 night to make it through the 12 sections of the duat.
Oh, so this is time.
Oh, it's time sensitive.
It's time sensitive.
It's time sensitive.
Wow. So
if you don't make it,
if you don't, what happens?
You get shut off in one of the sections of the duat. Trapped forever.
Wow. And that's why you need
and then all sorts of nasty things happens to you.
And that's why you need the spells to protect you from those.
Yep, there'll be demons there to play ping pong with your eyeballs. You could end up in pits of fire and snakes and drowning upside down in dung pools.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Now is
the duat's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place.
It sounds like the Hyatt, the hotel. I mean, it's great.
And it's not for anything wrong you did. There's no moral component to this.
Right, that's just what it is.
It's just what it is.
Man,
this is the penalty for being late, not the penalty for being evil.
Wow. So, is one of the spells where you kind of have to become Osiris?
They're all that way.
Yeah?
They're all vicarious spells.
Right.
So they're all written as in, like, for example, for the papyrus Ani. Ani was a high court official. Right. So you'll often see in translations Osiris Ani.
Right.
But it's Osiris whatever it is. So, for example, for the coffin the pyramid text in the pyramid of Unis, it's Osiris Unis.
Right. What if you are a woman?
Same deal.
So you don't get a goddess to help you out?
It's still Osiris. It's still Osiris because you have to vicariously become Osiris to reap the benefits of the apotheosis.
So a woman temporarily would have to become
a man.
A man.
Yeah, wow. She has to identify vicariously through Osiris.
Wow. The reason why I bring that up because in the conscious community they like to say that the black woman is God, but I'm like, well, if she's so powerful, if the goddess is so powerful, why can't she help you get through the duat? It's like.
There is a point in Egyptian history where Isis is regarded as more powerful than Osiris. Mm-hmm. But that's really, really late. In basically really late in the Ptolemy, early Roman period. Or in the Roman period. It's and that's because it's recognized at that point that the power to resurrect didn't come from Osiris, but it was Isis that caused Osiris's resurrection in the afterlife.
Right. Right.
And so late, very, very late, I mean, in the last years of the Ptolemies, and it was really in the last years.
Right, that's
like
when the ISIS cults became popular, right?
This is when the ISIS cults became really popular.
Right.
You know, basically during, I believe, Ptolemy the 11th and 12th. So you're getting at the really end of the Ptolemies here when this happens.
All right, so
but before that, no, it's still all Osiris.
Okay, so I just want to throw that out there because So I'm with Anubis. I'm with my dog. Literally, I'm with my dog Anubis.
That's if you say the spells right.
Okay, I said everything right.
If you don't say the spells right, Anubis escorts you to the duat and then abandons you.
Wow.
And then you're on your own.
So not only do I need the spells to defend myself against what's in the duat, I need the spells just so my dog Anubis can.
So your dog doesn't abandon you. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say we do that, right? So now we get to the gates, right?
Every section of the duat has a gate.
So it's kind of like the old school video games. You get to the end of the board, there's a boss.
Yep. Starts gate 1, section 1, move to section 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you start getting to the sort of where the judgment starts to take place around section, and it'll depend on which particular version of this.
All right, so
but somewhere, somewhere during 7 to 9-ish, roughly, you'll start seeing the judgment scene.
Now, is that that's before the negative confessions?
That's the weighing of the heart.
The weighing of the heart. But okay. I already did my negative confessions prior to that, or do I say it during?
It's going to depend. It's going to depend.
Okay. All right. So let's say I did all that. I get to the judgment scene.
And the negative confession, let's be honest about the negative confession too.
Yes, sir.
It's not that you haven't committed those crimes. The negative confession is that a spell that absolves you of those crimes.
Wait a minute. It's not you saying that you did not?
Nope.
Wait a minute. That's you. I did not know that. So these confessions are also spells.
They are also spells. The negative confession is a magic spell.
And the reason why that's a big deal for me is that in this community, they like to say that the 10 Commandments are a ripoff of the negative confessions.
They might say that there's no evidence for that, but yeah, they might say that, but it's not a law. These are not laws. None of these things were enforced in the life, in the mortal life.
But that's so wow.
This is a magic spell to absolve you of what you've done.
So when you say I have not lied, that's a spell saying that I want you to think that I didn't lie.
Yeah. That's basically a spell to wipe away the lies you did.
Wow. So you're fudging your way through the underworld. You're fudging.
You're using magic. You're using magic to make your heart lighter.
Somebody
so that when it comes time to weigh your heart, it's light as a feather. Light as a ma'at feather.
So it's not because you're such a noble person. You just know how to. You're talking your way into heaven, basically. You're
using magic.
Wow.
Egypt is a magical culture.
Wow.
It's a magical worldview.
Wow.
They use magical spells for everything.
That's crazy.
They're not. This is not a scientific culture. No, they're not. They're not talking about quantum physics here.
I did not know that. Wow, you just blew my mind.
Look, they have spells for making people fall in love. They have spells for curing diseases. They have spells for protecting children. They have spells to entreat the gods to their favor. They've got spells for every occasion.
Right. Speaking of
this is just one more occasion.
I mean, that's crazy. There's a particular Kemetic priest that me and you both know that claims that it's not really spells, but they're affirmations.
That's nonsense.
What do you say?
I'm sorry, it is nonsense. Frankly, every affirmation to say that, these are holy words. They're magic spells. They saw no difference between an affirmation and a magic spell. No difference at all. Well, let me give you a real example, which is what's called the voice offering. Okay? Now, there is this text that you see often on Stele, which basically it's called the Hotep Dinisu, an offering to satisfy Osiris. And that offering, there has to be bread, beef, beer, cloth, gold, alabaster, geese, just this smorgasbord of stuff. Nobody ever gave all that stuff.
Really?
What they did was the priest would just recite this. And that's why it's called a voice offering. By just saying the words, a priest just saying the words, it's as if the guy actually gave those things.
Okay.
Because it's a magic spell.
Now, there's another spell that's usually inscribed in the back of the heart scarab. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's also
it's going to depend on there's actually several, so you're going to have to be a little more specific than that.
Is it what, spell 190, 180?
There's a lot of spells, and they heart scarab can have a variety of spells.
Well, it's the spell that basically tells the heart not to snitch.
Oh, that one, yeah, the one that basically tells the heart, dude, don't sell me out. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that one. Yeah, that one's famous because you do see it fairly frequently with heart scarabs, but it isn't the only one that goes with heart scarabs. There's others as well. But yeah, there is that one that basically is a reminder of. It basically is telling the heart at the weighing. After I've done this 40 confession of wiping the slate clean, yeah, don't tell on me after.
Because I just lied to the gods, basically.
Well, he's done his duty. He's done his spell. He's clean now. So if the heart rats on him, it's just, it's spilling tea and telling tales. So he's been redeemed by the spell.
Wow. Not from having a good life, but
yeah, well, some of these guys were pretty
Okay, so I do my native confessions, aka my con spells. I got my heart scarab, don't snitch on me. We get to the actual scales. My heart is light, right? What happens?
Yep, Anubis puts his thumb on the scale.
I'm sorry?
Anubis puts his thumb on the scale.
You kidding? To help you out?
Sometimes.
Wait a minute. Well, I mean, if you got all the spells right, he's on your side, yeah?
If you got all your spells right, yeah, he's on your side.
So he'll put his thumb on the other scale, on the thumb.
He can put his thumb on you'll see him steadying the scale, but on some portraits you'll see him putting his thumb on the scale
to help you out.
Or otherwise.
So that's arbitrary, even after all. Wait. So you did everything right, and he can still stab you in the back at the end?
He can still stab you in the back, yeah, sure.
So you did all that, and you still might not make it because if he just don't like you for some reason, he'll just put the thumb on the scale and you're done.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
Goodness, that's crazy.
We have to understand that all gods in ancient Egypt had a good and a bad coming.
Whew.
All of them.
Wow.
So it's not just that I mean, Anubis is not a universally good god.
Right.
There's no universally good gods in Egypt. They're all dualistic gods. They both have a good side and a bad side. The good side of Anubis is he can help you through the afterlife.
Right.
The bad side of Anubis is he can make arbitrary decisions to send you to somewhere else.
There's no spells to stop him from doing that?
Well, all spells are stochastic.
Okay, break that down for us.
Okay, stochastic means that they have a probability. They increase your probability, but they're not assured. So by saying your spells, you increase your probability of a good outcome, but you don't guarantee it.
So Anubis is the Scarlet Witch, basically, because she deals with problem.
I don't know what the Scarlet Witch is.
Wanda from the MCU.
Sorry.
You don't watch Marvel at all? The Marvel movies? You don't.
I worked for on Marvel films. I hate watching them.
Really? Bro, I just lost like 10 subscribers just now. That's terrible. Anyway. So
I mean, I worked on which one was it now?
You see
the Avengers.
You see Moon
was
Knight.
it? Oh, I've seen Moon Knight. Yeah, I've seen Moon Knight.
Okay, you're good now. You're good now.
Okay.
So no, it's just,
I mean, I worked on the movie Infinity War.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hated it. I worked for the visual effects team that did Infinity War.
Wow.
And I just can't stand Marvel.
Wow. That's a whole different show.
But, I'm a anime manga fan.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm not into American comics.
Wow. Okay. That's fine. Fair enough. But yeah, 'cause I brought her up because she deals with probability magic. So when you said that, I thought of the Scarlet Witch. But anyway, so let's say the dog, for some reason, he's having a good day. He likes me.
He's having a good day. He likes you.
Good day. He likes me. Puts the thumb on the other side.
Okay.
So my heart is light, quote unquote.
Your heart is light.
Now what?
Now you get to go to the fields of Osiris.
Why is that a big deal?
Well, that's the blessed, quote, blessed afterlife.
So when you put those...
And what you do in the blessed, in the fields of Osiris, is you work Osiris's grain fields for all eternity.
And that's paradise.
That's paradise.
Working his fields.
Working his fields. Now, your rank in those fields is going to depend on what your rank was in your former life. Now, you as a vizier will be a vizier in the afterlife. If you are a farmer, you'll be a farmer in the afterlife.
Wow.
Still working the fields.
So there's no real upgrade here.
There's no upgrade. No, there's no upgrade at all.
Wow.
For all eternity, you're working those fields. If you're a king, you become a scribe on the boat of Re. That's the only exception. Everybody else, except the king, works the fields of Osiris.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't
reaping
sound
wheat.
like the Bible at all. Not even close. You know, and maybe that's why they try to flip it and say, "Oh, this is science," because when they realize what happens when you get through the duat, it's like it's very anticlimactic. I mean, that's sad.
Egypt is a society built on status quo. If everything in Egypt is normal and working as it should, nothing ever changes.
Even in the afterlife.
Nothing gets better, nothing gets worse. It always stays the same.
Wow. Well, I mean, I hope now people who are watching this will see clearly how this is vastly different than what the God of the Bible offers us. Okay, we get crowns, new names, we get introduced to his, his people, and totally different. We get
you
new
don't.
bodies.
There's no becoming the son of the king or a son of a god in the Egyptian afterlife.
Oh, wow.
Even your apotheosis, you're still a farmer.
Wow.
Congratulations. Now you can work harder.
And that's
You don't
it,
need to
right?
sleep
That's the end.
anymore.
And that's the end. You're doing that for all eternity.
Now you have the option of, during basically the night in the underworld, returning to your tomb to receive offerings from your relatives.
So you don't have to go to the grain fields.
Oh, you have to. You have to return at night.
Oh, so it's like work release program.
It's a work release program, yes.
Oh man!
In the underworld, during the day, you work the fields.
At night, you go get some bread.
At night, you're free then to go to the day in the mortal world to accept your offerings.
Wow, that's
Because the sun, the solar boat travels over. Basically, they conceive the physical world as 12 hours of the day, the 12 sections of the Taway, and then it goes into the underworld for the 12 hours a night.
so you basically you commute to work.
You commute to work. You never sleep.
So you get on the downtown bus, you do your hours, and you go back home, get some beer, a slice of pizza, and then you go back on the boat, back to work.
Yeah.
Wow, that's sad.
Yeah. And eventually, your relatives stop giving you offerings.
Because it just costs too much money.
Because
or they just forget.
Well, either way, you know. No one's going to remember great granddad at some point.
So what happens then? So then there's no need for you to go back. Then I guess you just keep working?
You just keep working. And it's not like Osiris shares his grain.
Oh, so you don't get no food.
No, you don't get no food in the afterlife.
Wow. So you don't get food. Wow.
This is why the cults of kings were funded for centuries.
Wow. Wow.
Because you didn't get food in the afterlife. You made food, but you didn't receive food.
Oh, Revelation says we get to eat with Jesus.
Well, Christianity's a little different.
Just a tad bit. Just a smidge.
Just a tad bit.
Just a smidge. Wow. But again, this is so important that people hear this, so that when people are even contemplating leaving Christianity for this, it's like, why would you?
Oh, it's...
Why would you? That's a bum deal. That's a bum deal you get over there. It's like...
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't leave Christianity because of basically the metaphysics of the afterlife, okay?
Right. But it's just one more reason not to go. It's like,
yeah,
the grass is definitely not greener on the other side.
Mm-mm.
Well, it might be greener, but you don't get to partake in any of it because it's all sides. Oh, man. That's crazy. Cool, man. Thank you so much for that. I didn't
My
know
pleasure.
about the negative confessions. That blew my mind.
Most people don't.
Did not know that.
Most people assume it's a morality statement, and it's not.
I mean, you just gave me some
because it's not a morality people lived in the mortal life.
I did not know that. You don't understand how much ammunition you're just giving me now with these people. That was great. I
mean, frankly, Egypt had no moral codes. It was tradition that determined behavior.
Interesting.
There was no laws. Egypt had no laws at all until the Edict of Horemheb.
And when was that?
That was towards the end of the 14th century.
Wow.
And that first law was an anti-corruption law. Because the Amarna period bureaucracy was so corrupt.
But they had some kind of understanding, right? The Ishfet, right?
Isfet. Okay, the thing there's a few things we need to understand about Isfet and Ma'at.
Okay.
Ma'at was not a guiding principle that you see throughout Egypt's history. You only start seeing it at the beginning of the 19th dynasty.
That's late.
That's late. It's very late. Now you had guys like Jan Osman, who had made a really big deal about this was the guiding principle of Egyptian society forever. But there was a very good paper that was done at a recent, I think it was the 2019 RC conference, where they basically showed that Ma'at was not mentioned practically at all prior to the 19th dynasty. And part of it was because the Ramesside kings started using Ma'at in their names. When a king came to the throne, he styled his throne name basically in line with his religious agenda. So in the case of Seti I, you had Men Ma'are. Basically, firm is the order of Re. Okay, and those names not just were basically for legal documents; they were a religious agenda. So that's where you start getting the beginnings of Ma'at worship. So, a few centuries later, you also have the introduction of Isfit as well. Chaos.
Right.
Disorder.
So that's late as well, that concept.
That's also very late, yeah. You're talking, say, 21st, 22nd dynasty.
Okay. Wow.
So it's a very late development in Egyptian history. It's New Kingdom, and not even early New Kingdom. It's late New Kingdom.
Wow. That's crazy.
Before then, what you had was was called the tradition of the elder gods, and basically it was a loose set of intuitive moral standards, like don't steal from the king, don't murder. Now, there are things about that tradition of the elder gods that are just that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like, for example, there's a prohibition against killing slaves. So a slave owner could kill a slave by accident, but not intentionally.
But then how would you prove the intent? You know what I mean? Like that's
the $1 million question.
Right.
They're supposed to be remanded over for justice.
Okay.
That's the situation Joseph finds himself in. He's remanded over for justice.
Okay. Wow. Okay, doctor. We're gonna wrap it up here.
Okay.
That was an amazing journey. Very sad journey. The ending of that movie was horrible. Nobody wins. So,
everybody loses.
Everyone loses. It's a tearjerker. So, but before
at least it's the status quo.
Crazy.
At least there's consistency.
I don't know if that's a good point, but yeah, I mean it's true, but no. But before you're out of here, Doctor, what can we be expecting from you in the immediate future from you, sir?
Well, in the immediate future, we're still creating lots of content. We are trying to move towards me going full time. So we are getting closer to that goal.
Nice.
We're about halfway there right now. So we are inching towards that, which means would give me basically dumping my day job would mean more complicated and better videos. Nice. I can start writing books again and getting some peer-reviewed articles out. In the short term, we've got a popcorn review coming up on September 4th at 8 p.m.
And no one
And for
knows.
those who don't know what my popcorn reviews are, they're essentially where we take a video and we critique it.
My people know about the popcorn. They know it.
They know about the popcorn.
They love it. They love the violence that you choose, sir, with that popcorn. Yes.
It's always a good time.
Infamous popcorn, boy. Woo. Oh,
yep,
so
there's going to be popcorn.
So you guys know, Dr. David Falk, I'm not going to say too much, but, he's aware of the conscious community as well. So, the world's overlap in YouTube. You know what I mean? So he knows what's going on over there too.
I've got my eye on the conscious community.
So there might be a popcorn review.
Anything can happen with the popcorn.
Anything can happen.
The popcorn keeps its secrets to itself.
I understand that. Yes.
You won't find popcorn in the fields of Osiris.
Oh man. So people, Michelle says, Anubis isn't your friend, is what I learned, and Set will bite you.
Hey, any of those gods will go both ways. I mean, even Seth will help you sometimes. His good coming.
Yeah. Isn't he Set sometimes?
He's got a good coming.
Apep, right? Sometimes he'll stab Apep.
Well, no. The Apophis and Seth are two different deities.
Okay.
Okay, they're two different deities. Okay. But Seth has a good coming and a bad coming, just like every other god. His good coming will give you phenomenal strength. He's the god of strength and power.
If he feels like it.
If he shows you his good side. If he shows you his bad side, he's going to take a chunk out of you. But all the gods of Egypt were like this. Every last one. Sekhmet, goddess of healing. Well, she's the goddess of healing because she's the one that gave you the disease in the first place.
Doesn't she become Hathor when she gets drunk, right?
No, Hathor is the cow goddess.
I thought so Sekhmet doesn't transform into another deity?
Nope. She's the lion. She's a lion deity. She's one of the eyes of Re.
Right.
Okay.
Man, that was a lot, man. So, Doctor, any final thoughts on this process to the field of Osiris?
Yeah, avoid it. It sucks. The Egyptian afterlife sucks.
Does it?
It's awful. Even if you make it, it's terrible.
It's the worst.
I mean, there's no redeeming qualities to the Egyptian afterlife. It's not even if it was some metaphysical thing that was symbolic of something else, that might be more redeeming than what it actually is.
Wow.
No, it's terrible. There's no wonder that the Egyptians adopted Christianity en masse. They were one of the first nations to convert to Christianity.
Right.
Because, frankly, the Egyptian paganism offered nothing. It offered nothing.
Right.
So the early pagans recognized this. The Egyptian gods were. The Egyptian gods were just as likely to sell you out as to save you.
That's wild.
They were so duplicitous. They were so duplicitous.
Moral of the story: stay away from the fields of Osiris, because Osiris got no love for you. All right?
Osiris could sell you out too.
Man, that's terrible. But on that note, Doctor, thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure.
You come back. Can't wait to see where the popcorn might lead us to. And with that, it's Dr. David Falk and BK signing off. Peace.